What's up, everybody? Another day, man. Mark and Dougie, we're hanging, brother. We're hanging. A lot of stuff's going on, man. I'm gonna get myself a moped first of all because gas is through the roof, man. But a lot of crazy things happening right now, man. Life's the same for me. It doesn't change much, man. You know, I live my day every day life, and I don't pay attention. I turn off the news, and life's actually food tastes better when you don't watch news. Actually, it tastes better. Everything's better, you know.
Absolutely. I mean,
So
there's so much to do. I mean, there's so much. I mean, you watch the news and you're like, could this really be happening? Could things be this messed up? you know,
and I don't know if we're going to start off with this segment because I don't know how long it's going to last, but I think we'll get back to the segment because there's a lot to talk about. There really is. We're going to start off with a little nicer story, and we're going to get into some really controversial things, but I think they need to be said, and we're going to say them. We're going to start with a little nicer gesture. A guy was a millionaire for a second. There was a guy that was a millionaire for a second. Tom Brady threw his 600 touchdown, and I believe that ball's worth over $1 million. They're saying the ball's worth $500,000, but I know I'm in the sports industry, and that's a icon, and that's an iconic ball and an iconic throw, and he's the only one in that 600 home run club. And they said McGuire's ball was only worth $500,000. It went for $3 million, and Brady's not McGuire. He's much more popular.
Well, but, you said 600 home run club. I think you meant touchdown club.
Well, it's 600 touchdowns. I apologize. And he is the only one in that club. And no one's getting there. And let me tell you something. No one's getting it. The next highest guy that's active is almost 200 touchdowns away, and he's 39. That's Aaron Rodgers. So I don't see it happening anytime soon. We're watching greatness. It's fun to watch. He's throwing the ball like he's 20. But getting back to this, Evans wasn't paying attention. It happens, you know. He catches the touchdown, another touchdown. Brady throws him all the time. Big deal. Let's give it to a fan. He gives the ball to a fan. All of a sudden, he gives the 600 touchdown. You're talking about $1 million ball. And I said to myself, holy shit, he made a mistake. Needless to say, Brady's like, where's my ball at? He's like, that guy over there has it. So they went back in the audience, and they said, the fans, he goes, sir, could we get the ball back? And the guy agreed. And that's a tough decision to make. I mean, I don't think I can do it. I thought about this. You know, it's a very tough decision to make because you're talking about a ball that's worth a couple of million. He did get some stuff for it. But I'll tell you, Doug, what decision would you make? I want to hear your decision. If that was you, say the ball, Mike Evans gave you the ball.
All right. If they gave me the ball, first of all, as much time as I started hanging out you now, especially since we're doing the podcast, I would have known that ball is worth some Monet. And I would have not just handed it over without negotiations, aside from at a game, you know, when a guy's talking to me, I'm over him, you know, on the wall. I'd say, here's my information. I'm going to hold the ball for now. And perhaps, you know, maybe we may have to get Tom Brady's wife involved in a little bit of barter. You know what I mean? Hey, you know, and like you said, you know, what you have in your hands got to be worth something. Yeah. You know, and no, we'll negotiate. I'm not ready to negotiate now. I'll hold the ball. Here's how you contact me. You know what I mean?
But here's the funny thing you said, Doug, because they gave him quite a bit, but not enough. But even Brady came on TV and he says, I would have held the ball a little bit longer. Brady said that. And he goes, you know, what I would have done, to be honest, I thought about this and I've changed my mind twice. Okay. I'm a Brady fan. The first time I said, there's no way I'm giving that ball up. That's the first time I said it. Then I thought about it. That ball's really not your ball. That ball is Brady's ball because Evans gave that ball away. Brady didn't give that ball away. You know, it's like
I disagree with you, Mark. If I'm at the field, I'm in the stand, somebody jumps up and gives me the ball, it's mine.
But Mike Evans wasn't the person to give the ball. It's not his possession.
Yeah, he caught it. It was in his possession. You know what I mean? If that's the case, now you got to go to Evans and figure out he was the one who acted in your proxy because he's wearing the jersey. He's the person that received the ball.
Yeah. And you know what? The NFL has so much money. Why not change this guy's life? Well, I'm going to tell you what he got. So this is what he got. I got all the information on it. Okay. The ball, I think the ball is worth at least $1 million to $2 million. No questions asked. Okay. I'd pay a half a million for it. I would. Okay. So I think the ball's worth $1 to $2 million. I really do. This is what he got. And he didn't have to get all this. Brady gave him a helmet that wasn't game used. He gave him a jersey that wasn't game used. You're talking about, $4,000 or $5,000 each. Okay. He got season tickets for 2 years. season tickets, good seats, decent. And Brady out of his own pocket gave him a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So it's 60 grand. But you know what? So he got something for it. And you know what? Brady didn't have to do that, man. So a lot of players wouldn't have. They said that's my possession, and he was cool. And Brady joked around later on. It's you know what? Everybody's saying the guy's stupid. Until you're in that situation, it's hard to say what you would do. I like to say I'm a hard ass and I would run out of the stadium with it, but I feel a little differently. I'm a Brady fan, first of all, and I think he deserves it. He earned it. I didn't earn it. I'm looking at the money aspect of it. Yes, I am. I have a little bit of money, maybe not quite what Brady has, but I'm looking at the aspect of that part of it too. But it's really Brady's ball. How I thought about this long last night because it was like I was going to come on and say, no, I'm getting my Steinish going green, and my lawyer's going to get involved in this, and I'm thinking about it. The guy got about 100 grand. He got about 100 grand.
All right. So how do you think the fans would have acted if he didn't? Do you think the fans would have been with him, or do you think they would have started come on, give him the ball? Do you think they would have been against him?
And here's another thing. If you don't work a deal out, I think he could listen. I think he could have worked a better deal. I do. And even Brady said it. If you don't give him the ball back, now you got a football, undocumented football. The NFL's not usually when you get historic things like that, the NFL will give you a letter to authenticate it. Now you got an undocumented football that looks like every other football in the world. Now you got to prove later on. I mean, I guess there's photos of you having the ball, but it's a little hard to prove. You can get any NFL ball and say this is the ball. I don't know if they put markings on it yet because they usually I don't know how it works. Usually they will put markings on it, but I don't know if they got a chance to, if they do it before the throw or after the throw. I'm sure it's after.
Did anybody get some of Tom Brady's deflated balls?
That was all a myth. They proved that wasn't real. It was all a myth. All a myth.
I was just wondering if there was any worth or value to the deflated balls.
Hey, whether those balls are deflated or not, the man threw 600 touchdowns. The guy's 44, still throwing them, brother. I don't know how he's doing it. It doesn't make sense. Like, I can't imagine being at that age and still producing at that level is insane. It really is.
I just wanted, some of my friends had told me that they would have wanted some, like I said, some favors from Gisele Bundchen. You know what I mean? Like, hey, just have your wife come over.
You can get girls that look better than Gisele for $1 million.
Yeah, well, listen, of course. That's why I would have been like, well, and like you and I talked about it a little bit before, like, you would have to hire security to walk you out of there,
that's another thing. He would have got robbed on the way out. There's no way that little twerpy guy was walking out with that ball and 5 guys weren't waiting outside for him. I mean, you're talking about they know he has it's all over the TV. He would have got jumped without a doubt. Yeah, so that's another. Yeah. What I would have done probably, there's so many scenarios. I would get 3 of the biggest guys in the stadium say, "Yeah, walk me out. Here's $500, whatever it is, to walk me to my car." And then I tell the guys, "Listen, man, I know Brady wants this ball, but I want to be compensated. Just compensate me. The NFL makes a lot of money, man. They make a lot of money. Just compensate me. That's all."
I've had a few beers. I'm having a lot of fun at the game. My stomach's not right. I had a few chili dogs. I really want to get a clear mind before I start negotiating, our little agreement.
Exactly, man. So
I'd like to consult with my friend Mark, who knows about these.
I'd say, Dougie, run, don't do it. But it's funny because everybody's saying, I would have did this. Now, a security guard comes up to you. You don't know first of all, you don't know the law. I don't know the law. I don't know if the NFL owns that ball. I really don't know the law. I mean, there could be a loophole saying any item owned by the NFL goes back to the NFL. I don't know it. So why not try and get as much as you can, I mean, maybe if they said, I don't know the law, I really don't. Maybe he says, I'm not giving the ball. He's like, well, you have to. It's Brady's ball. I don't know it.
There's no law there. There's no law. It's just it's like a foul ball at a baseball game. They're, if they throw you the ball, it's yours. They can't say, oh, I'm sorry, give it back. Well, you just gave it to me. You know what I mean? And that's like common law. Like it's like an agreement. If somebody says here,
Well, the guy said that he's a huge Brady fan, and that's kind of what I am. And he says that Brady deserved it more than he did. And I mean, well,
maybe this guy's gonna be maybe now he's gonna be close. Who knows? Maybe him being that nice about it. Like you said, maybe he's gonna be invited over for some tea and coffee at the Brady's house. You know what I mean? Who knows? I mean, listen. It's all I know. Who knew that the guy was going to go to the game that day and basically end up getting $100,000 wealthier?
A lot more than 100,000. I'll tell you right. Oh, we're talking about the Bitcoin and all that. Yeah.
Right.
Without it. So in other news, Alec Baldwin surpassed Charles Manson for kills. He's at 1 and Manson's at 0. So he's the all-time leader between those two right now on the kills. So yeah, I'm giving him a little props on that. No pun intended.
Yeah, by the way, Donald Trump Jr. is now selling T-shirts that say "Guns don't kill people. Alec Baldwin kills people."
And everybody's up in arms. Meanwhile, Alec Baldwin roasted the shit out of his dad for 4 years. Why shouldn't he be roasted? I think Donald Trump should go on to SNL as Alec Baldwin. I think he should go as Alec Baldwin and do a whole skit on it.
What should I do with this gun? Should I check the gun or not check the gun? Anybody?
Exactly.
Hey, you.
And Doug, I don't know a lot about what happened. I really don't. I know he's an arrogant prick, and I feel very, very bad for the two people that were shot and the one that died in the family. I feel really bad. But listen, maybe you could tell me about this. I don't know about how do you accidentally shoot 2 people?
Well, on our podcast today, a friend of mine who was my guest, actually does scenes, films and stuff. Turns out they were doing like a point of view scene. Like he would because my question was, why is he pointing it at the film cinematographer? Well, because he was pointing it at the actual camera it looked like he was pointing at the victim on number 1. So and then the gun discharge. Obviously as a gun owner, there's safety of a gun. If you hand me a gun, okay, if anybody hands me a gun, hey, you want to check out my gun if I'm going to use it? The first thing what's that?
You handle it correctly.
And the first thing you do is you make sure the gun's not hot. You make sure you can ask him, is the gun loaded? Even if somebody tells me it's not loaded, I'm going to check myself. Okay. So if it's a revolver, which it was a revolver in this, you can open up, and look and see if there's anything in there. Hopefully there's nothing in the chamber. You can look out, you can pull the thing back and look. And if it's a gun with like a clip, then, you take the clip out, you cock it to make sure there's not one in the chamber, and you hold it with everything unlocked, and you hand the gun here. Now you got a safe gun, right? So there's definitely some negligence here.
Now, here's the question I'm asking, because I don't know the whole story, and I don't think anybody knows the whole story. And there's whole kinds of conspiracy theories, which I don't believe half of them, But did 2 different people get shot, right? 2 different people got shot? I understand what you're saying about the first bullet. I understand. I get it. What about the second one?
Well, supposedly the bullet went through the lady and then went and hit the guy.
Really?
Standing. Yeah.
Wow, I never heard that. Okay, that makes a little more sense then. It went actually through the woman, and it had enough power to hit the other person and did that much damage. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that can happen.
Yeah, because if you have, the idea of a blank is basically just a bullet without the tip. It has the gunpowder casing and the shell, but it doesn't have like the hollow tip or the lead tip or whatever at the tip. So what happens is if you use the gun, debris from a previous blank could be in there. So when you shoot the blank, it propels whatever's in the barrel of the gun. So that's obviously what happened.
I don't like kicking people when they're down because there's no reason for it. But this guy used to love kicking people when they were down. This guy was just not a nice person with anybody. I mean, his 11-year-old daughter, he was calling her a monster and a whore and whatever he was calling his daughter. I mean, who calls their 11-year-old child that? I mean, he was, listen, I didn't want this to happen to anybody. It's sad. It's really sad, especially for the family. But, it's irony, I think. It's irony and karma because he's such an animal and he's so against guns and this and that. Meanwhile, he handles them wrong.
Yeah, he's a douchebag. He's a know-it-all. He's a know-it-all douchebag that likes to tell people how they should live, and how he's perfect. And, that's the one thing we're getting to see a lot more videos of him. I saw a video on TikTok today of him like getting mad at some guy for being a paparazzi. And the guy's like, that's what I do. That's my job. He goes, that's your job? He's like, yeah, that's
like I'm better than you.
Yeah, exactly. Very condescending and stuff. And, don't take pictures of my wife. Fuck you. Don't tell us.
Free world. I can do whatever I want. Meanwhile, you could do whatever you want, and there's no repercussions for you. But for a guy just trying to make a living, not saying anything, not doing anything, not bothering you, not in your face, do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, and the thing is at least we all know that I'm sure, Alec Baldwin is like having one of those moments where he's like, oh my God, what did I like? He's got to live with this now.
Yeah.
He's got to live with this shit.
Does he have a conscience? But does Alec Baldwin have a conscience?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad if you have a conscience. This is terrible if you actually have a conscience. If you don't have a conscience, I don't think it's that bad. I don't know if he has one. I mean, I don't think he does. I mean, the way he portrayed Trump and the way he treated other people like animals, I don't know if he does. You know,
Uh,
we talked about Ivanka and we talked about Trump's family. Who does that? Barron. I mean, who talks? Who does that? What kind of person does that?
well, an elitist. That's who does that.
Yeah,
And a righteous
not
elitist.
all elitists, not all elitists, but him, yes, him without a doubt.
Like I said, a righteous elitist asshole.
Yep. And we'll see what happens. I want this to be investigated because if it was something that was not handled properly and he did it's manslaughter if it wasn't. Listen, if I have too many drinks and I hit somebody, I'm investigated. I go to jail. I want to find out why it happened. If it was strictly an accident or it was negligence. If it was negligence, the man should do time. He should.
Yeah, most people don't think it's going to be any criminal case. It'll be a civil case,
Mhm.
where the family will win a lot of money for a wrongful death. They'll sue him being the producer. They're going to sue the company that made the movies. They're going to sue him, and you better because in law that when you in a civil case you go after deep pockets. It's
Yeah.
like it's like if you get hit by a truck, you hope it's an Amazon truck.
Well, that was the joke. What's his name? Who's the comedian? Tracy Morgan.
Tracy
He said he got hit. He looked up. He's like, "Thank God." He was happy. He said, "It's Walmart. Walmart hit me."
It's Walmart, not the dollar store. Yeah, I mean that, and good attorneys are going to obviously find as much deep pockets as possible. So it's that doesn't bring a person back, but and here's the problem is whatever money he's sued for, you know, what you really worry about is his reputation. Like we said, it's one thing to have something, there'd be a lot more compassion for him, right? If he was a compassionate guy, but he's not. He's an asshole. He's just one of these fucking know-it-alls, and I've lost a lot of respect for anybody who's a know-it-all and and a hypocrite, and all that shit. So fuck Alec Baldwin,
That's how I feel exactly. Like I said, I feel really saddened for the people involved in the shooting and the parents, without a doubt. But like I said, we're gonna have more about it. We're gonna hear more about it, and we'll see. I mean, I think there's more to this than meets the eye, and we'll have to see.
Okay, GI Joe.
So, what do you got next, big boy?
Well, why don't we? I think we should come up with a new segment because a lot of people talk about it. We should call it "Bashing Biden."
The BB segment. The BB segment.
The double B segment. And this clown just can't stop. I mean, last week it was the Cornholio, the Beavis impersonation,
Hands, yeah, it was hands.
and at that town hall meeting where he was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And secondly, and now of course, now they're talking about the whole idea of this plan, Build Back Better, the $3.7 trillion plan, which is now under $2 trillion. And the Democratic Party itself is falling apart. They can't even unite. Biden said he was going to unite the country, both sides. He can't even unite his own party. And he's, so they came up with a tax plan because they want to spend trillions of dollars, but they don't have no way to pay for it. So what do? They say it's not going to cost anything. That's what Democrats do. It's zero. It's not going to cost. Yeah, 3.7 trillion means zero. Well, if this goddamn guy stays in office long enough, the U.S. dollar will be worth zero.
It's happening already.
Yeah. But anyway, the new Democratic tax plan, their new idea is something called taxing unrealized gains. Now, Mark, do you know what unrealized gains are?
Explain to me, Doug, for the audience.
Right. So the answer is no, you don't. So unrealized gains is, let's say you bought a stock for $100 and now it's worth $200. You haven't sold it. It's just in your account. Now the IRS, they're saying the IRS should tax you on that, which is really incredible because how do you, like, in other words, there's so many housekeeping issues with that. Bookkeeping, like, all right, so if you do that to every year, if you look at my account and then tax me, what happens if I keep it, but next year, let's say that $100 stock drops to 100.
You lose. Exactly.
Now I just lost 20 grand in capital gains, or $20 on that $100 on capital gains for something, and now I'm selling, and now I have a bigger loss. So it's like it's hard to even watch over it to do it. Eventually, what will happen is like the alternative minimum tax. Most people don't know about that, but if you make over a certain amount of money, you pay an like it was only supposed to be the wealthy when it came out, and then almost everybody pays an alternative minimum tax now. So it's a fucking stupid idea. People are like, tax people are like, this is the worst fucking idea. So not this guy, this administration is just screwing up royally, and they can't even figure out ways to fund all that shit. They want everybody to get welfare. We want everybody on earth to get this free shit. Billions of dollars of money. Like we said, that they're going to have a green. They're going to have.
Nobody wants to work, Doug. Nobody wants to work because of that. I mean, why would you want to work when you get free shit? And that's the problem with America.
Yeah. So here's the best part about it. This bill hasn't even been voted on or passed, but the powers that be, because there's a reason why the rich continue to get rich and the poor get poor. Rich know what they're doing. They pay attention. They learn about their shit. So what are the rich doing? They're finding out ways to circumvent this law,
The
and
loophole.
they're gonna figure it out. And
Of course.
for a lot of attorneys are happy about this because now attorneys are gonna have to draw trusts for the wealthy so they can hold these stocks and not the individual. And they could put a certain amount of money in there to balance the money out so that it stays under the number. So they're gonna do all this shit, and guess what? They won't be able to collect the fucking money they want to collect because it's a stupid idea in the first place.
Well, there's a lot of stupid ideas. That's one of many stupid ideas he has. And I love when he said that he was going to cure cancer. He can't even friggin' cure anything. And he's like, I'm going to cure cancer on my 4-year term. So
Yeah,
it's funny he said that.
He can't even keep from shitting his own pants.
Exactly. And if it was, and it's funny you talked about when his hands were stuff like that. I'd never seen anything like it. It was very odd, and that makes me think more so that he's on a substance, that he's on some kind of substance, because your arms don't lock for no reason like that. A lot of people are linking him to Adderall, and that's why there's moments where he has clarity. There is moments when he talks, he has clarity if you listen to him, and then there's moments where he can't fucking say anything right. So they're linking him to the Adderall, and there's so many bad things going on right now. That's one thing you talked about, Doug, and I'm glad you let everybody know about it. But the border's a mess, dude. The border is the worst it's ever been, dude. It's never been like this ever. People are just coming in droves, and they're like, "Come on in." And Texas has had enough. Texas says we're going to handle this on our own now.
Yeah, over 1.7 trillion people this year were apprehended, which is you're talking about almost 5% of the population of this country is coming in illegally.
Yeah,
you got 5% of the population coming in once a year, coming in. No big deal. We got plenty of room.
About COVID. But we're worried. Wear your mask and be worried about COVID. But meanwhile, let everybody in your house. Let everybody in your house, and we'll deal with the consequences later on.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you said that about wear a mask. Well, we know that Biden didn't wear the mask at that restaurant, that Italian restaurant he was in. Him and his wife. Remember? It was just a week. Tell him to wear a mask indoors, but he didn't have it, and then Pensaki was like, "Oh, it was just one of those moments." Yeah, like everybody fucking has, you stupid bitch. But at any rate. Now this just came out. Maskless Biden appears to cough and clear his throat. And then in Jersey,
a couple of times. Matter of fact, I'm sorry to cut you off, Doug. He did that when he was running for president and CNN, and the guy in CNN says, "You just coughed." And the mic goes, "Yeah, I know." CNN called him out. So he's done this several times, Doug. He should know by now. Like, he can't even fix his own fuck ups. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah, no, listen. I just think that it's funny that you watch the people that vote for him. You notice how on Facebook and stuff, his real big followers and stuff, they ain't saying anything. They're like, "Oh, you guys hear about the weather? Oh, you guys hear about?" They don't want to bring up anything that's more
liking the Jets. You can't say anything positive. You could just say I'm a Jets fan, and that's it. You can't say my quarterback's good. You can't say anything. There's nothing good about Joe Biden or his administration. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. I've said this several times. I'll say it again. If there is, because me and Doug ain't perfect, please let me know. Please, let's talk about it. Because maybe we're wrong. Maybe he's doing wonderful things. Maybe he really is, and we don't see it. Well, I see a nightmare. I see gas prices going up. I see the border crisis. I see now he's making people get vaccinated. In Chicago, if you don't get vaccinated as a police officer, you lose your job. And know what DeSantis said? DeSantis says, "Go fuck yourself, old man." He says, "You come over to the BSO or every police department in Fort Lauderdale or Florida or anywhere in Florida. We'll give you $5,000. Come down here. We have a job for you."
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like we don't have a problem staffing our businesses. That's what we want. That's what we need. Less cops in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because people are getting shot every day, but we don't want a cop to actually get COVID or pass COVID. A fucking virus that is 99% survive. Again, and it's just this cluelessness. The other thing while we're on it, listen, they're just clueless, and the liberal media and the liberals, like he posted something on Facebook. Well, his handlers posted something on Facebook that a corporation shouldn't pay less taxes than a teacher. And I'm like, oh, you mean those teachers that want to weaponize the FBI to silence the parents of the children they're teaching? And it's like, this guy's fucking clueless. Jen Psaki, whatever his spokesperson, whenever she's talking about it, like what they're even liberal media people are like, what is he doing? He's done nothing. He's like a fuck up. And they're like, well, let me remind you, last year that we have much better unemployment now than we did then. We have so many people vaccinated. You ain't gonna fucking be able to. This means nothing. You know, the American public are waking up, and
they are. They are.
And listen, this poll, he's going to be the first president that is under a 20% approval rating before this end of this year.
Like we said before, Doug, like not to talk over, I apologize, but like we said before, it's hard, very hard to go under 30%. I think Jeffrey Dahmer would be around 32% right now. So it's very hard to go under 30%. It really is, especially with a liberal America. Liberal America had Dave Barry, and they had a Gilliam almost got elected. And the guy was face down with fentanyl with a guy pumping him from behind, and he almost got elected. So if you're with the liberal America and you're under 30%, we have a lot of issues. A lot of issues.
Also, speaking of that agenda, you know, I don't know if you know this, but in Virginia, there's a big coming up election. There's 2 governor races this year.
Yeah.
One is in Virginia, right? And the Republican governor is actually leading in the polls, is because the Democratic governor is running for it, completely dismissed this case, and it basically says parents don't have any say so in the education in their kids' education. The school board should be able. We don't want parents to pick books and stuff. No, you dumbass. But we want the parents to have a say so and what is and what isn't in it.
Of
so
course.
you trying to say that the parents. So you're actually telling the voting public that they have no right to go to a fucking meeting. And like we said, we had the story about the father who was pissed because his daughter was raped by a 14-year-old transgender girl. That's a boy in a skirt, by the way.
Didn't that happen the second time? Didn't it happen? Wasn't that the second time it happened?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that the 14-year-old was raped. The good news is that the kid is now found guilty of doing it. But while it happened, the Loudoun County of Virginia School Board, they got an email when it happened, and there's people that are claiming they were not aware of what happened and who it was involved. But they lied. So here you have a school board lying to protect a transgender, you know, to not muddy the waters of transgenders and using bathrooms and all that shit in a public school. The father
who got sodomized, nobody cares, right?
The father who got arrested for being upset at the school board for saying, why isn't this being talked? My daughter was raped and you guys aren't even fucking doing anything about it. He got arrested for speaking out. And Biden wants us to give a shit what a fucking teacher is paying in taxes. Let me tell you something. Ever since this, one of the things the pandemic has done is expose the moronic aspects of our government and things in our public schools. Look at all the teachers who didn't want to go back to teach, right? Because they didn't want to go back. Oh, we're not going to go. The school boards got together. That big fucking this huge group of lobbyists, basically saying no, we don't want to go back to school, and they were doing all this shit. And Florida, like we said, DeSantis kids went back to school last year. Other states didn't. Those kids are all fucking idiots. They're all this shit. Give me my iPad.
And nothing any different in the state of Florida as it is in California. Matter of fact, it's worse in California where they shut everything down. But it's funny because they're so worried about shutting everything in California. Meanwhile, the whole place is a shithole anyway. They're doing needles, they're doing drugs, they're urinating, they're shitting on the side of the road. But listen, don't want to get COVID. We'll get tuberculosis, hepatitis, every other thing you'll catch from defecation on the street. But nope, got to have a mask on. And that's it's ridiculous. And DeSantis got it right, man. I pray he runs for president.
A lot of the Democrats are concerned about how he's basically, he's getting so much positive press. And what's also happening is there's more details about how Biden tried to make him look bad by withholding, treatments for COVID for people that had it, controlling the supply. He talks about how bad Florida and Texas are the worst states with COVID. Well, then why aren't you sending more of the treatment? If those are the states that are having the worst COVID cases, why would you restrict the amount? You think Wyoming needs more than Florida? You fucking moron. So I just hope, it seems like the average person, I saw people say, I'm missing the mean tweets. I'm missing our mean tweets. I don't know.
The number one costume, and not to change the subject, because I don't know how much people want to hear about Biden, but the number one costume this year, because I tried to buy it, is a Biden. I was trying to get a Biden mask and go as Biden. You can't buy a Biden mask. So when you're the number one Halloween costume, that's not very good.
Hey, speaking of number one, we talked about how, Let's Go Brandon was #1 music
Yes.
by a rapper, and they took it off YouTube. Well, there's a new one, a new anti-Biden song is now #1 on the charts. And so listen for that coming out because it's all let's go. In my shows this weekend in Greenville, there were people shouting, screaming out, "Let's go, Brandon!" So, hey,
Yeah. Actually,
Democrats.
I'm going to surprise you. I'm mailing it to you. I got you a "Let's Go Brendan" T-shirt, so
Oh,
it'll be arriving at your house very soon. Maybe we'll do a podcast with our "Let's Go Brendan" T-shirts.
why not?
But yeah, why not? Why not? Like I said, man, it's just too easy. Even Saturday Night Live, the most liberal show on the planet, doesn't get any more liberal than Saturday Night Live. They're doing skits on Joe Biden now. They're actually doing skits.
Yeah.
It's just too easy, and it's going to get to a point where everybody, even our friends from high school, I'm not going to mention names, but even he will have to see it. Everybody will have to see this, Doug, because it's too much in your face. You can't avoid it. It's
we know.
it's coming right at you. Yeah. No.
We know our friends, the ones that were big Biden supporters and everything, and now they're saying, "Well, I wasn't a Biden supporter; I just didn't like Trump."
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Good
you know
luck.
what I'm saying?
I heard you say that, so good luck on that one.
I've got so many screenshots saved of these people that I'm going to throw back in their face when this guy just continues to eat a dick.
Yep.
And another thing he's guilty of is the safety of our country. Hey, Biden, his son sold paintings for $500,000, same amount of money that Van Gogh and other famous painters got for paintings. But this fucking guy, there's nothing corrupt, nothing to see here.
Exactly.
And not to mention, China is eating our lunch. China just launched a suspected anti-satellite weapon. In other words, China now has a satellite in the sky that can gobble up our satellites.
It's sick. It's a sick satellite. Yes.
But Mark, hey, we are not behind. We have the first 4-star transgender health admiral.
Incredible.
Oh.
Can you imagine what countries are looking at this? I am the first man. No, you're not. No, well, first female. No, you're not. Everybody can see you. This is TV, not radio. We can see you. We can see what you look like. Yeah, I am the fitness model. Me and Doug are the most biggest fitness models. You can't, but you can see us. No, you're not. I can see what you look like. Oh, it's a joke. And other countries are laughing at us. They really are. And we're supposed to be the superpower, man. We're the United States. Everybody fears us. And but they're not fearing us anymore. And their shelves are getting a little more barren. Yeah. Gas prices are going through the roof. People are panicking.
Biden said he's got no fix. I mean, he promised everybody he was going to cure cancer. We were going to all be hugging on 4th of July this summer. Everything was going to be great according to him. And he was wrong.
And you hear what? Sorry.
No,
you hear what they said to him? They said, "What about our freedoms?" He goes, "Freedoms? Give me a break. Freedoms, like freedoms don't mean anything. You know, it's like, hey, I don't care what anybody says. People are missing those mean tweets right now. I'm missing those mean tweets right now. I'll take them."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Let's face it. I think I'm going to make the prediction. I think DeSantis is going to run, and in 2024.
He won't run if Trump runs. If Trump runs, he won't. I think Trump might run.
I don't think. I will see what happens. I think Trump's still going to be a kingmaker, not the king. So I think that would be a better thing for the Republican Party, just to win and put somebody else that can't be. Because if he wins, the Democrats are going to do the same stupid shit they have done. The good news is Pelosi's admitting I'm not going to run. She's a fucking karate chopper.
And that's the problem with our country too. We allow people to run till they're 90. We need new ideas. We need one government. We need new ideas. You can't run when you're 88 years old, man. You don't have
term limits in Congress.
I mean, listen, we have limits anywhere. You don't want to get operated by a man that's 90 years old. Why would you want him to run your country? It's like we need fresher people in. We need to change some of the rules and some of the laws. And it has to be changed. The country has to change. It has to.
Again, the only good thing Biden is doing is shit in the bed so bad. He's paving the way for a red wave in 2022 next year. Congressional elections.
He's not shitting the bed. The people running his strings are shitting the bed because Biden has no idea what law got passed. He has no idea. When I tell you he has no idea, I've heard him actually say, like, what am I signing? I mean, when you don't know what you're signing, yeah, just sign this. Just sign it.
How many times he said, "What am I doing here?"
Oh, it's like someone has dementia. Like, sign this right here. This is good for you. You're gonna get all this stuff. Just sign right here, and it's the same thing. And that's what we're dealing with right now.
Sign here, you get a free TV. Okay.
You get a free "Let's Go Brandon" T-shirt. Sign right here. And he probably said, who is Brandon? Who is this guy, Brandon? You know, he's probably thinking, honey, who's Brandon?
Yeah.
He has no clue.
My wife. Ugh, that woman. His wife. Any rate, I don't know. I just think, like I said, we got the only thing to look forward to is that this will hopefully will end, and and Kamala Harris, another horrible story, not doing anything. And he lied. Remember, Biden lied about it, guys. I've been to the border. He was in 2008. He drove near it. I mean, the guy is such a fucking. He's how many? I mean,
how do you not go to the border? How is your administration not go to the border?
Thinking about this, it's like his spokesman said, "Well, what? Because you think if he shows up there, I'm like, how many? Okay, so next time there's a fucking hurricane or natural disaster, the president just said, "Oh, we've seen plenty of hurricane destructions. I don't need to go." It's for the fucking people. It's to show the people of your country that your citizens that you care.
That you actually care. Exactly.
So it's clear to the American public he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck about the border. He doesn't give a fuck. These are his future voters. That's all he gives a shit about.
He made a deal with the devil, and that's it. He made a deal with the devil. They said, listen, we're going to make you president, but you got to just sit there and just look pretty, which he's not doing. And that's what they said to him, and he made the deal, and that's it. And now that's it. He can't say anything because he doesn't know what to say. He's clueless.
To all my conservative friends, be sure to call out your friends on Facebook and social media. The ones start sharing their screenshots of how great Biden is going to do. Let's hear about that. Let's definitely hear about that. It's
time to call everybody out, man. And that's what this show is about. And that's why we have this show, because it's time. This is our voice, and it's time to call people out, man. A bad behavior needs to be called out. So let's start doing it.
That's it.
One quick story. Go on to a little different story. So what was the
we're at 37 minutes, so you know. I just want to let you know.
Okay, we'll just be the last story then. So what is the biggest bet you ever put in? How much money?
Probably $1,000.
$1,000. Mine's probably about $5. But here's a guy who bet $3 million in the beginning of the year for the Astros to win the World Series. If he wins and he's at the World Series, he wins $36 million. One of the biggest bets. But he'll win $36 million on the Astros. You think he's watching that game?
I don't know. Is he watching it, and is he pulling his hair out? I mean, when you have that much, well, first of all, it's all relative, right? Like if he just made a bet for $3 million, I'd guess he's probably got $3 billion.
Yeah.
He's probably rich, so it's not like it's chump change for him. But that's why it's some people say they bet to make the game, watching the game more exciting. Like I love the fun bets. Like I'll do that stuff on my NBC Sports thing.
Sure. Even if it's free, you want to see how you do, of course.
Yeah, but you know what? If you got $3 million, on it, and oof. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine an error? A guy drops a ball. just anything can happen, man. I won a couple. I've lost a couple games, and I've won a couple games that were ridiculous, where I'm yelling at the TV set, and that's for a couple of hundred. I can't imagine for this amount of money.
The worst thing I ever saw. My buddy in college, John, my roommate, he's a big gambler, professional gambler, and he bet on the Raiders or something like that. He ended up throwing the TV off the balcony of our apartment in Plantation, where I was going to Nova University. He felt so mad he got pissed and threw the fucking TV out, the old picture tube TV. And I'm like, wow, I'm not going to be betting. I'm not a big betting guy.
It's what? It's like you feel like the team's against you. Like, goddamn, Derek Carr hates me. It's like he gives a fuck about you. He's playing the game. He doesn't want to lose either. So, hey, that being said, man, we'll end the show because we're going on way too long. Doug, man, it's always an honor doing this with you, man. I love getting the voice out, man. What do you got going on this week?
This Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be at the Greenville Comedy Zone on a showcase of comics you need to know. Going to be on that show. And don't forget, November 10th, I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale at Gatsby's joint, headlining the room. And then on the 12th and 13th, I'm going to be at Cocoa Beach, the Gregory's Comedy Club in Cocoa Beach. And don't forget to come to the Savor Theater in Fort Lauderdale to see the Beer Kings premiere, or TV pilot.
I will definitely. I watched your trailer, man. It looks funny. The movie looks very funny. That one guy looks familiar. The one actor looks familiar. Was he in something before the other heavy-set, stocky guy next to you?
Yeah, Richie.
I've seen him in something. I've seen him something.
Richie Minervini was in Mall Cop, Blart Mall Cop, and
that's what it was, Mall Cop.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him. Funny guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go to the premiere, Doug. I'm going to check it out, man. I'm definitely going to go. I'll go to the premiere. And me, I'm just doing what I do, man. I'm just buying baseball cards, buying memorabilia, talking about Joe Biden, whatever I feel like doing at the moment, trying to find a Joe Biden Halloween costume. So if anybody knows of one, I'd like to buy one. So I'm going to, have a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt. And I always like to have something a little controversial for Halloween. It's always fun. And
Well,
that being,
you can always go as a horse's ass.
I could go naked with just a bike. I'm sure he walks around naked. He doesn't know where he's at. But exactly. So everybody, enjoy what you do. Don't take everything so personal and just enjoy life, man. And go anybody but Biden, man. Let's get somebody in there quick. That being said, peace out, everybody.
Take care.